22nd of November, 3:08 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber, 5. Hey everyone, sup? We're back with Great Ace Attorney. So, I this release of the game, the English release, comes with some special added stuff that are called Escapades, which apparently a lot of them, some of them take place, they're like extra little stuff, extra little plot pieces or whatever for characterization and whatnot that are sprinkled in between cases. And I didn't realize this. I learned this by looking online, and well, I was kind of looking into a few little things, and then I just stumbled upon it. And then I decided, well, crap, I should probably do these, and I guess I should probably do them after like every chapter. And since I didn't do it for chapter 1, and we just finished chapter 2 the last episode. We're kind of going back in time for this one. But the next one I think will be right after chapter 2. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? No idea how long this will be.
Just look at my priceless treasure now. Myself, I have scrubbed and scrubbed, but the repellent odor of meat will never be repelled from its resplendent surface again. But you have it back in your possession at least. You should be grateful, old man. How dare you?
Excuse me, but I'd like to get it. I'd just like to get at the Zabuton cushion there if I could.
Rest assured, you miserable military malefactor, this is not over. Incarceration awaits those who would defraud a senior citizen of his priceless treasure. Watch your tongue, old man. Mark my words, I won't.
Sorry, Sergeant, but could I just get to that Zabuton cushion there as well?
Oh. I won't go to jail, never. Imagine if I did. The very next day, my boy would starve without the chain of command in place to provide for him. Using the child to protect yourself. Myself, I call that abstinent cowardice. Oh, really? And just who employed the old poor defenseless senior citizen tactic, The only way to fight an enemy who's using underhand tactics is with a tit-for-tat strategy.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I just need to get that Western-style cushion there on the sofa.
Enough of this insubordination. What do you want, man?
Oh, please, don't mind me.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is this the wide-eyed criminal from the trial before?
Well, considering the silly music, I'm assuming this took place after. Wide-eyed, perhaps, but criminal, no.
What is this unhealthy fascination you exhibit with the seating arrangements of others, Why were you appearing under the cushion of this upholstered seat?
Oh, well, the thing is... Any luck? Did you find it? Well, this is one of the pains of going back in time. No, sadly not. I don't think it's here, Kazuma. You really are a liability, Ryunosuke.
Report! At once! Have you lost something? Is that it?
Yes, we were just on our way to a party to celebrate my friend's victory here when... I realized that my university pin badge was missing.
A university pin badge, you say?
Yes, from my collar here, you see.
Affirmative. Uniforms must be kept in prime condition at all times. A missing badge is unacceptable.
I thought if I looked around, it would probably turn up somewhere. Like the old tale of the Koban coin and the steak.
A parable of which I am acutely aware.
But I've exhausted my search now, really. The only logical conclusion is that someone must have stolen it. I love how the old man just instantly looks to the sergeant.
Don't look at me. I don't just find any old metal objects irresistible, you know. Imagine what would happen if a little trooper out of here swallowed something like that. I'm afraid we'll have to give up, Ryunosuke. Still, if you tell the office your student number, they should be able to issue you with a new one. What's the matter? Don't tell me. Yes, I don't remember my student number. I don't believe it. I mean, this is the second time you've lost your badge, isn't it? Third, actually. If you didn't think you could remember it, you should have made a note of it somewhere. I told you that until I was blue in the face the last time this happened. And now I can't even speak my sentences correctly, dunderhead. Yes, I do seem to remember someone telling me something along those lines. This is a new pose, by the way, I think. Funny that we're seeing this in a side thing. It was you, wasn't it? You can't even remember who told you that you needed to remember it? Well, student numbers are 6 digits, Kazuma. Who could remember 6 whole digits? Aren't like half the digits in your student number a 0, though? Yume isn't exactly a long-established university, you know. All of our numbers are still rather low. In fact, they only use the last 3 digits. Well, that might help, I suppose. That might help? Ryunosuke, it's only 3 digits you needed to remember. Just 3. Sorry my brain is such a disappointment.
Yes, well, anyway, young man, myself, I was greatly impressed with you in the courtroom today.
Oh, you mean me?
A lawyer already before you've even graduated. And such a loyal friend to this one.
This one? What's that supposed to mean?
Oh no, I still have much to learn. In fact, that was brought home to me in no uncertain terms only last year. My Achilles heel was spectacularly exposed by my best friend here.
Indeed?
What? By me? This is the first I've heard about it.
Yes, by Ryunosuke Naruhodo. You can't have forgotten, surely. It was last summer at the speech contest.
The speech contest? Oh, that.
Contestants had to take the stage and deliver a public address on any subject they chose. We were competing to give the most compelling and powerful speech.
Yours is great. It made a huge impression on the audience.
Obviously, since I was a budding student of law, I was determined to win. And sure enough, one by one, my opposition fell. When I reached the final at last, I came up against you.
Yes, so you did.
Not being rude, but when I first laid eyes on you, I thought to myself, this cheeky, wide-eyed no-hoper is out of his depth. He's gonna be a pushover.
That's your version of not being rude, is it?
Well, I paid for my complacency, because it brought on that humiliating defeat. Defeat? How were your ranks compromised? My speech was going very well. I had the audience in the palm of my hand. They hung on my every word. And then, when I came to the very last line...
Yes, what happened at the very last line?
It was supposed to be a climatic end. Unfortunately, I completely fouled it up.
Never.
You mean you stumbled on your words? Spectacularly. Even now, I can't believe I ruined it. Well, what on earth did you say, man? Ryunosuke, you'd better say it. I still can't get my tongue around it.
Sure, of course. I can still recall it perfectly. What you said at the end of your speech, or rather, what you intended to say at the end of your speech, was this. So arise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud our forefathers' plight and the fight for filial piety. I can see how one would mess up a line like that. And what went wrong?
What indeed? Myself, I see no problem with the pronunciation of these paltry words.
Well, there's a lot of similar sounding words in that sentence. In that case, old man, I invite you to say it yourself.
Very well, then I shall. Ahem, ahem. So arise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud our forefathers' plight in the fight for It's impossible!
The arise, ladies and gentlemen part I delivered perfectly. But the next part had me floundering for a whole 5 minutes. By the end of it, I was on my knees in front of the podium, a blabbering mess. And that's when the audience started to heckle you. Arise, arise, they were shouting.
Hell on earth.
But then, of course, this man went and delivered his word-perfect speech with a perfect ending. How did it go again? Let me see. So, my dear fellows, the message is simple. Treat your father and mother with respect. Something like that? I mean, talk about stating the obvious, but the fact is, I lost to that speech.
Tongue-tied is the only way to describe it.
Well, it is quite tricky to say, I agree. That final fight for filial piety, especially. And ever since that day, I've had this question whirling around in my head. Why did our forefathers choose such an awkward phrase? Was it to mock their children? I mean, it should never have been called filial piety in the first place. Ah! In the first place. Okay. Now I miss... this is both lightens my heart and makes me miss him even more. At least you're going to Great Britain soon. It might not come up much there. Oh boy. Well, anyway. Having lost that accursed contest, I came after you to ask you a question. How is it that you never trip up on your words? I inquired. And you just gave me a broad smile and said, speaking fast is my hobby. I mean, really? What kind of hobby is that? Do you think you could take your hand off of your sword? Besides, it's just a way to pass the time. After that, you started talking at me 10 to the dozen, like you were possessed almost. Honestly, you can't imagine the shock I suffered that day. You really can't. You're right, I really can't. After all, I'm so much better than you. Speaking fast is just the sort of hobby I'd expect a civilian like you to waste his time on. Well, you have to practice, of course, but there are some simple things to start with. Like this one, for example. Swift samurai sword... Swift samurai sword swipe silently sideways.
Oh yes, even a decrepit lounge tongue in an alien frame such as mine can find its way around that one.
I've no doubt. It's just a bit of fun, really. I can't imagine anyone would struggle to say it. Isn't that right, Kazuma? Uh-oh. Oh no. He's gonna try to say it.
Swift samurai sword...
Blabbering mess by word, too.
It's not just a samurai, every good soldier needs to be able to handle a sword. That's what I've been teaching Ado, the finer points of swordplay. None of this wordplay nonsense, Private.
Dude, he's a toddler. Come to think of it. Not long after that, we started to do 10 lectures together, didn't we? And we got into that debate about family values at the Sukiyaki place on campus, do you remember? Yes, your argument was full of jokes and puns and wordplay as usual. I remember it well. Why am I Ryunosuke? I've come to this conclusion that I am just him. Jokes and puns and wordplay, that's all I live for. Oh, was it? In any case, I swore that I would never let myself forget the shock you gave me back then. And as a symbol of how seriously I took that oath, I decided to wear this. My red Hachimaki headband. See, now I'm getting tongue-tied. Yeah, I don't get the connection. Yeah. Sorry, Kazuma.
Yes?
You've lost me there, I'm afraid. I don't see the link. What does your red headband have to do with your oath?
Because it will always remind me of that smug look on your face as you utter those tantalizing words.
What words? You mean another tongue twister?
I practiced and practiced until my tongue bled, but in the end I mastered it.
Mastered what?
Well, I think it's time you heard this, actually. Listen carefully now. Here goes.
Let me drink some water.
Alright. Red headband, lead headband, dead headband. There, word perfect, see?
I'd actually been meaning to ask you about that. About the story behind your headband, I mean.
Well, now you know. So that I'll never forget the shock and humiliation of that day. That's why I wear this red headband every single day without fail.
So you wear it because of Ryunosuke humiliating you in school. Well, I don't know exactly how much of a shock you think you had back then, but it can't be more than the shock you've just given me now.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but the tongue twister I said didn't go the way you seem to have remembered it.
Hmm?
It's just as famous as Swift Samurai Sword, so I can't believe you don't know it, really. It goes, red bread pan, lead bread pan, dead bread man.
Wait, what? Red pan... Ugh.
It seemed I've knocked some wind out of that headband of yours.
It's not too late, Prophet. You could always start wearing a red bread pan on your head instead. Your youthful vigor is manifest, young man. Your cheeks are glowing redder than your Hachimaki. Rawr! Why do so many words have to be similar?
I ask myself that a lot. So, looking forward to Great Britain, then. We'll have to deliver speeches in court in English.
I suppose I can always shell seashells on the seashore.
Is that the end? Oh my god. Well, that was unexpected and intriguing. Well then. Onwards to the second one. Let's get it done. And then, we'll probably end it off after this one. This takes place in episode 2. January 6th, 6:23 p.m. SS Siberia, first class cabin. Number 1. I really enjoyed that one, though. I mean, it was simple, but it was charming and fun. And we got to see two characters we haven't seen in a while, and we got to see Cosmo one final time. In a more light-hearted fashion.
Alright. It's almost 2 weeks now since we left Japan. I can't believe how quickly time has gone.
Oh shoot, are we Kazuma? That's interesting.
So, our next port of call will be Shanghai.
Okay, yeah, this takes place before Case 2.
Who's there? Who could it be at this hour?
A detective.
A detective? Who?
A great detective.
I don't get it. What's a great detective?
If you would be just so kind as to open the door. Oh yes, sorry, of course. Is something wrong, Detective? Are you investigating a case? Wherever a great detective goes, great cases occur. Indeed, I am the root of all evil. Sorry? Then I don't think I want you in my cabin. Under our very noses on this steamship, a terrible theft has just occurred. What? You noticed, I presume, the brief power failure a short while ago. Oh yes, the power couldn't have been out for more than 10 minutes, though. Indeed, yet that was ample time for this wicked crime to be perpetrated. I see. Well, clearly it's a case that needs investigating. Precisely. The culprits ran away in this direction, down the first-class cabin passageway here. Really? The thief came this way? I'm quite sure of it. It may have escaped the attention of the dim-witted crew, but not of the great detective. To that end, I would be obliged if you would allow me to investigate here in this cabin. Well... How curious. Is there some reason why it would inconvenience you to have your cabin searched? Inconvenience me? Well, I'd be lying if I said no. After all, there's a stowaway in that wardrobe right over there. And you don't even have the thing on. Is it just me? It's just me in here, you see, no one else. So you might perhaps want to focus your attention on one of the other first-class cabins. As it happens, you are the only first-class passenger at present. The other cabins are vacant. Oh. Ryunosuke, you idiot. Did that rather tragic rumbling of the stomach arise from within you, my good fellow? Of course, as I said, I'm the only person in here. It's not long until dinner time now, so perhaps we could do this afterwards. I do apologize, sir, but it is of the first importance that the investigation is not delayed. Now, if you'll excuse me. Wait, where did he go? How did he suddenly move all the way over there? Yes, without a doubt, if the culprits were to be hiding in this cabin, it would have to be inside this wardrobe. I shall need to examine this wardrobe thoroughly. I presume you have no objection. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to decline. Really, you won't find any... Oh, my best friend, you are such a dumbass. Did those two rather tragic sneezes arise from your good self? Of course they did. As I said, I'm the only person in here. You have a curious knack of talking while sneezing, then. Twice, no less. This is gonna be a tough one to argue. I was watching you quite intently, sir, and I assure you I saw no signs of a sneeze. Couldn't Ryunosuke have held his nose? As I was saying, I shall need to examine this wardrobe. Well, how's this gonna work out? Because clearly Sholmes... I mean, we know that Sholmes didn't open it prior to this. He didn't know of our existence before. We've had it now, then. The game's up. Well, it's taken him a while to inspect it. Nobody hiding in there, it seems. What? You seem surprised. No, not at all. Yes, I am. He was in there for sure. I shut the doors on him myself. More visitors? Who's this now?
Excusing me.
Oh, Seaman Stroganoff.
Sorry for disturbing, but crime has been committed on board ship.
Yes, I heard. A terrible theft, apparently.
How do you know this?
Ah, well, the detective here just informed me, you see.
Detective?
Yes, I assumed you must have asked him to investigate. Detective, could you... Did he hide in the wardrobe? Where did he go?
I must ask you to cooperate with investigation into this crime, fully.
Uh-oh, he's glaring at the wardrobe already. Well done, you found me. What are you doing hiding in my wardrobe? My good man, I was merely assessing the practicality of concealment in such a place. And I would say that, at a push, a human could survive for up to 5 minutes in that cramped space. Rinosuke has been in there for a fortnight. Is he not human? You know, that's a good question. We'll have to look into that in a future case after you're dead.
Who are you?
Shh! This is the moment of truth. The great detective is about to unveil the sordid details of this wretched crime. You mean to say? Yes, there can be no doubt that the culprit of this terrible theft did indeed conceal himself within this wardrobe. That was a very far point. Did you see how far around he turned for that?
What?
But that's impossible. He couldn't have done. Because my best friend was in there the entire time. Or at least I thought he was. I said that in too high-pitched of a voice for Kazuma, sorry.
How can you be so sure of this?
Elementary, my dear fellow. The criminal left behind the most revealing evidence. How else could you explain these 3 bones?
Oh,
What the? He's right, look at those gnawed bones in there. And 3 of them.
the criminal has escaped this time, but I will find him and crush him.
Could I ask you something, Detective? Why, yes, of course. I am always delighted to hear an inquiring mind. In this terrible theft, what exactly was stolen? Aha, what else? But some steaks on the rib bone. Did you say steaks on the rib bone?
For this evening's dinner, 3 rib steaks were stolen from ship's kitchen only short time ago. They will malfunction with generator. There was malfunction with generator and ship was without lights for 10 minutes. Chef who saw criminal said he ran away down first class passageway. And now I am on his tail.
I'm afraid to say, dear fellow, that your man is no longer in this cabin.
But how?
Through the cabin door, no less. Having devoured his hole in this wardrobe, the culprit discarded the bones and concealed himself behind the cabin door as you came inside. Then, when attention was turned to the wardrobe, he seized his chance to escape through the open door.
What?
Make haste, my good man, after the culprit. I shall follow presently.
Hold it!
Something trouble you, sir?
I think maybe criminal is not running away at all.
What are you suggesting?
Now I know where the dog is buried, Mr. Asogi.
Me?
Duh, when I think that you are culprit, everything is falling into place. The criminal that disappeared in first class passageway, the bones in the wardrobe. All crews are pointing their fingers at you.
Don't be ridiculous, I would never... Yes, of course. I established at once that you couldn't be the perpetrator of this crime. You did?
Why? How are you so sure?
Because I was the one that did it. There are but two things in this world to which one can rely with total certainty.
What two things?
The word of a great detective, and second, that's a new one. I haven't seen him snap forward like that. The second is the tragic rumbling of an empty belly.
Not again. When I first entered this cabin,
Oh, there did arise from this gentleman a belly rumbling so odiously tragic that it confirmed beyond all doubt that the man had not eaten a single rib steak in some time, let alone 3.
why do I have to suffer this humiliation? When I've done nothing wrong. Curses, I will catch this thief. He cannot have gone far.
Indeed, assuming he decided against a post-meal constitutional swim. Well, if you will excuse me now, my apologies for upsetting your evening.
Hold it. Detective, one moment, please.
Yes.
That was a most remarkable deduction. Perhaps you'd be kind enough to tell me your name.
Ah, it's quite slipped my mind. You have been talking with the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
I see. Well, I'm Kazuma Sogi. I'm a student on my way to Great Britain.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Asogi. Oh, and before I forget,
I bet you he actually did see Ryunosuke on there, and he just pretended as if there's no one.
yes, I feel I should warn you. Live cargo is strictly forbidden on this vessel.
Yep, I knew it.
So you would do well to conceal the stowaway currently lying low under your bed as carefully as possible.
Oh. Oh. Under the bed?
I bid you farewell, then, Mr. Asogi.
Wow. So he actually knew Ryunosuke was on the ship all along, even before Case 2. He's uncovered our secret. I suppose I should have expected nothing less of a great detective. Oh god, now we're getting this music again. I swear I'm not gonna cry this time, guys. Is that the end? Nope. Now then. When did you move in under the bed? I thought we'd had it when he opened the wardrobe door. Feels so weird seeing Ryunosuke from the front. I think we might have seen it once before, but not often. I thought we'd had it when he opened the wardrobe door. Ah, well, it was thanks to that split-second chance you engineered. That I what? You distracted him for a moment, remember? When you suggested that he investigated the other cabins instead. Oh yes, he turned to look towards the corridor, didn't he? Well, I couldn't see what he was doing, of course. But I thought to myself, it's now or never. And the next thing I knew, I was under the bed. You really know how to give me a scare, don't you? Anyway, what's all this about the rib steaks, eh? Sorry about that. I've just been so hungry. Ever since we left Japan, stuck in that tiny little wardrobe. Well, you should know. You've been splitting all your meals with me. You must be starving too, surely. Right on cue. There was that power cut before, wasn't there? For about 10 minutes. So it was then. I caught a whiff of the most delicious smell. And I thought to myself, it's now or never. The next thing I knew, I had the steak in my hands. I freaking love Ryunosuke. I think this is the first time we've seen him cross his arms like this. It's a real cool pose, honestly.
Like, he looks extremely cool. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I really like whatever that is on his left hand, like that, not a glove, but like, I don't know what you call that, but it's real cool. It's a very much an aesthetic that I am a fan of.
This man can't help getting himself into trouble. Well, alright, you were hungry, but 3 steaks? Thanks to you, 3 crewmen are gonna go without tonight, I imagine.
No, it was just the one.
What? I only took 1 rib steak from the kitchen, that's all. But I don't understand.
Hey, I'm not that selfish. If I'd stolen 3 steaks, I'd have at least been tossed one of your way.
I'm not your pet dog.
Yeah, no, I think it's the opposite, considering you leave him locked in a wardrobe and just give him, like, leftovers.
Well, in that case, who stole the other 2?
Do you think...
Could there be a ghost on board? Me-loving ghost? There can only have been a single bone in the wardrobe when Ryunosuke moved to hide under the bed.
The other 2 were stolen by Sholmes, and he just pretended like there was 3 when it was only 1. And then he put the 2 extra bones in there himself.
Which means that the other 2 bones can only have been put there by one very flesh and blood person.
Oh my gosh.
What's so funny? We're on a haunted ghost ship. A great detective or a great mischief maker. Either way, I think I'd like to spend a little more time getting to know that man.
Man, if only you could, man.
The great Hairlock Sholmes.
God damn it. Man, am I sad that we aren't gonna get more screen time for Kazuma. He's real great. Alright. And with that, let us go back to the main menu so we don't spoil anything. And yeah, I guess we're going to end things off here for this episode. We got through 2 escapades, and now next time on Great Ace Attorney, we're going to continue where we left off. And we are going to start episode 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, mata ne.